Is your job killing you? Because for millions, it already has. Picture this, you wake up every day not to live, but to work. In Japan, there's a term for this called karoshi, which literally means death by work. And it's not just a Japanese issue. Globally, studies estimate that over 750,000 people lose their lives every year from being worked into the ground. This might sound extreme, but it's a reality for too many. Just look at what people are saying online. On Reddit, there's a community called Find a Path, where people pour their hearts out feeling trapped by the 9-to-5 routine. A 24-year-old who just started working at a bank says, "I'm stuck working for someone else's dream, making little money and craving peace. Are we all doomed?" Another person still in school says, "I'm terrified of ending up in a 9-to-5 job I hate. My relatives who work for big companies still can't afford a house." And finally, another, drowning in debt, says, "I can't imagine waking up every morning for the next 20 to 30 years to do a 9-to-5. A desk job with good benefits is not the life I want." Now that doesn't sound great, does it? Alright, let's get real for a second. You're working a 9-to-5, but how much of that time are you actually, working? Research shows that the average full-time employee only works for about 3 hours a day, yet they're stuck in the office for much longer. So if work is only 3 hours, what are we doing for the other 5? Probably gossiping with co-workers, doom scrolling on our phones, and counting down the minutes till we clock out. Should the 9-to-5 really be this draining if we're only working just a fraction of the time? It kind of feels like we're spending more energy convincing our bosses that we're working rather than actually getting anything done. Imagine this, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for 40 plus years, all spent at the same desk. We're expected to work under the same routine, hoping that one day after decades of work, we might finally be free. And here's the thing, when you finally reach that golden retirement age, you're too burned out to enjoy the freedom you sacrificed most of your life for. It seems like we live to work rather than work to live. But where did this broken system start? The 9-to-5 workday that dominates our lives wasn't even built for the world we live in today. Back in the early 1900s, Henry Ford invented a new work schedule, not to make life better, but to keep factory workers obedient and locked into a routine. So it wasn't about helping folks be more productive, instead it was about control. Ford's workers were paid to repeat, obey, and keep the machine running. Today in the era of digital work, we're literally using a model built for manual labor. Instead of being trapped in a factory, you're stuck in a cubicle or staring at a screen, pretending to be busy for many hours a day. Then comes a global pandemic. Suddenly remote work becomes the norm. And with this, you start to see the chains of the 9-to-5 begin to loosen. When it all started, I was working in an office, wasting time with travel, small talk, and at times trying to keep myself busy. When I was allowed to work from home, I quickly realized I could finish a day in just a few hours instead of the full 8. So every day, I finished work ahead of schedule, but started to notice I had lots of free time, but no work left to do. Instead of wasting what was left of my day, I wanted to keep the momentum going, so I took on more roles, juggling multiple jobs and earning between 2 to 4 full-time paychecks at the same time. I became what many are now calling overemployed. Not an easy task, I gotta say, but a whole lot better than being overworked and underpaid. I did this for about 4 years and was able to earn enough money to escape the 9-to-5 life for good. And it wasn't just me who did this. A 48-year-old engineer from Texas managed to earn $344,000 a year by working 3 full-time remote jobs at the same time, all from the comfort of his own room. After all, if your job revolves around sitting at a computer all day, where you work doesn't even matter, as long as you get things done without fail. Most big companies hate when their employees do anything other than work for them. So it didn't take long for these big conglomerates to realize many of their loyal employees were working more than one job. Companies like Amazon are rushing to drag workers back into the office. Just recently, their CEO sent out a company-wide email demanding that all employees return to their desks, saying remote work just isn't productive. But I don't buy that. What these companies really fear is that when you work from home, you're not just doing your job, you're doing more. You're finding freedom, and for them, that's a problem. For most people, the workday doesn't end at 5. The rising cost of living forces millions to take on extra jobs after work, just to stay afloat. The constant cycle of working leaves little time for rest, and the consequences are severe. Burnout is becoming the norm. In fact, more than 60% of workers report feeling burnt out at some point in their careers. It's not just about feeling tired. Chronic stress from overworking can lead to anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues like heart disease. And yet, instead of addressing the problem, the 9-to-5 model keeps pushing people past their limits. The cost of this outdated system is insane. Every year, US companies lose over $550 billion due to, and I quote, disengaged workers. In other words, burnt out employees. But here's the thing. It's not because people aren't trying. They're just trapped in a work structure that doesn't value efficiency or well-being. Employees are essentially being punished for not looking busy enough. The result? A vicious cycle. The more you work, the less time you have to recover. The less you recover, the less productive you become. It's a system designed to wear you down, not lift you up. If we don't rethink the 9-to-5, we're not just losing time and money. We're sacrificing our health, our mental well-being, and ultimately our lives. This broken system could sentence an entire generation to burnout, poor health, and less time with the people they truly care about. So how do we escape the 9-to-5 grind? The answer lies in rethinking how we work and who we work for. Imagine a world where you're not tied to just one job. Instead, you work for multiple companies, each paying you a monthly salary for around 3 hours of focused work a day. You're giving the same value as a full 9-to-5, but spending a fraction of the time. This new model allows you to stack multiple jobs, working only 9 hours a day while earning 3 separate incomes. But why is this better? First off, you can work the same hours but make a whole lot more. Doing this, you can achieve your financial goals much faster. You're not locked into a single job, chained to your desk all day. If you're unhappy with one role, you're free to leave and find something better without risking your entire income. Say you work 3 jobs and one is giving you a lot of stress. To get more freedom, you can simply cut this out and work 2 jobs instead of 3. That's just 6 hours a day under this new model, giving you plenty of time to enjoy life, pursue your passions, or simply relax. And here's the best part, you're still earning enough to live well without burning out. This is the future of work. One that values your time, pays you for what you're worth, and gives you freedom. The death of the 9-to-5 isn't an ending, but rather a new beginning for how we work. It's time to break free from these outdated systems, get back your time, and live life on your own terms.